around Caleb Williams potentially winning MVP is getting more real and more real by the day, so much so that ESPN is even talking about what Caleb Williams could do to win MVP this season. While he's coming off what many people have labeled a breakout season with 3,942 yards and 27 touchdowns, we know that there's refinement that's still left to be added to his game, that he can make that next necessary step. And with year 2 under Ben Johnson, we know that Ben Johnson is going to push him to get that done. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the Bears being called up for not maximizing Caleb Williams' rookie contract window. We're going to talk about what that means for the Chicago Bears. And also 2 players that could absolutely break out for the Chicago Bears this upcoming season. And I think people are starting to overlook them, but we're not going to here at Chicago Bears Central. We're going to get into all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. So, many Bears fans and many people around the world are wondering if Caleb Williams is going to make that third-year leap, right? I've personally talked about it and compared it to Josh Allen's third-year leap, where he went from throwing about 58% to all the way up to 67%, completion percentage in his third year. If Caleb Williams were to make that jump, right, make a jump, he doesn't even need to be that high. If he can even get to 63, 64% completion percentage, you're looking at a quarterback that could easily throw for 4,500 yards, right? So that's there. The capability of Caleb Williams is there. And the things that make it kind of stand out the most in regard to him is the fact that Caleb has made some amazing throws down the field. It's some of the gimmies, the drops, those type of things, the gimme situations that he's missed out on. And if he can tighten those things up, that just goes further in the offense being more consistent, moving down the field more consistent, all those type of things, right? And Matt Bowen of ESPN made this. He said this: Caleb Williams threw for 3,942 yards, 27 touchdowns in 2025. His first season under coach Ben Johnson. With another offense to develop in Johnson's system, the Bears QB is primed to play at a high level in 2026. Plus, he has a versatile and explosive group of pass catchers. The arrow is pointing up on Williams and Johnson's play calling. And that's the thing that makes this all a conversation. It's not just like we're hoping that Caleb Williams is going to make some leap that's not already in himself. No, we know that. Like, he holds himself to a certain standard that he needs to live up to. He does that. It's going to be great for him. But Ben Johnson and the plan that Ben Johnson has had almost literally since he's taken over this team for Caleb Williams, that's something that is going to help push Caleb Williams to get to the level that he needs to get to. One of the most important relationships in football is a relationship between the head coach, the play caller, and their quarterback. And as these guys grow and develop together, as Ben Johnson has continued to understand how to use Caleb Williams better, the pieces he needs around Caleb Williams, we've heard that this Bears offense is going to go more up-tempo more often, which is already what we've seen back to dating the Caleb Williams rookie year. We've seen how he thrives in a more up-tempo offense, but you have to have the production to get that done. It means you have to have the balance between the run and the pass game. You have to have the offensive line that can live up to that. You have to have the weapons to catch the passer from Caleb Williams. And we could start seeing the perfect overlap of all those things with the Chicago Bears. Now, we got some questions on the offensive line with Drew Dahlman's retirement, Isaac Trapillo's injury. But outside of those things, like, most of this offense is returning. Of course, DJ Moore's gone as well. Most of the main pieces of this offense are returning. And with Ben Johnson, last year didn't really trust Colston Loveland and Luther Burden early. You saw that worked out and said by the end of the season how trusted they were. Rome Odunze had a great start to the season, was playing injured for 5 weeks, then missed some time, right? So there's a lot that happened into that if these things work. Now, nothing, let me not say nothing ever, right? Very rarely does everything overlap into the perfect scenario and the perfect season for a team. You're going to have to deal with your own adversity. There's going to be its own story within each season, and you have to deal with that adversity as it comes, and that's good to deal with that. But I think overall, when it comes down to this, it just has to be this team could really need to make that next step. And We'll see. We'll see if they can get it done. Caleb, though, the fact that even ESPN analysts and people are talking about Caleb Williams making that MVP leap, it's there. It's there for him. He just needs to refine between him and the wide receivers not dropping as many passes. We'll see what they can do in regards to it. But everything's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There's always going to be a level of criticism, especially when you're the Chicago Bears. That's just something that happens. There's always going to be in regards to it. And while I'll say this, MVP talk for Caleb Williams is bold, but it's not crazy. Is it a little bit ahead of schedule? Yes. But I'll say this. There have now, of course, people have been judging a lot of the Chicago Bears in the situation. And on the Rami Harrison Grody show, Marshall Harris called out the Chicago Bears for maybe not taking advantage of Caleb Williams' rookie window. He said this. Or rookie contract window. Said this, Caleb Williams is entering year 3 in the NFL. He has a 4-year contract with a 5th-year club option, which we all assume will be picked up. He's set to make next year have a cap hit of $10 million, and the following in 27, $12.5 million. It's so important when you have a player of his caliber, you're getting such a value there. So, the question becomes about, did the Bears actually waste that window? It goes on to say this. I don't see as of right now them taking advantage of his rookie contract in the way that I had hoped. I feel like the door has closed already on the specific window for the Bears being Super Bowl contenders. The problem is by the time Matthew Stafford stops playing in this league, how much are you going to have to pay Caleb? So then you're going to have to ask him to do more with less. I just wanted them to take advantage of the rookie contract of a number 1 overall pick. Now, I'm not going to gas it and act like there weren't some things that Ryan Poles has dropped the ball on. One, we started off Caleb Williams' rookie year with Matt Eberflus still as the head coach. And we all kind of knew what that was going to go. And reportedly, Ryan Poles was the one that went to bat for him to keep his job. Now, reportedly, Ryan Poles was also one of the first ones to go and want to fire him during the season, something the Bears had not done prior to that. And so he recognized the error of his ways. But that's it, right? When you look at it, the Seahawks maximized Russell Wilson's contract window. It happened. The Patriots, they maximized it with Tom Brady, right? And so it's there. But I do think this. The counterpoint to this comes down to Caleb's long-term window is not the same as Matthew Stafford's. Matthew Stafford was already in the league and established before Caleb Williams was even drafted, right? And I think feels like this is a reaction to Myles Garrett going to the LA Rams. And Bears fans have had the reaction. Analysts have had the reaction. It's all the type of thing here. But to kind of overlook, like, what did you expect the Chicago Bears to be Super Bowl contenders by year 3, looking at where this roster was, even when we drafted Caleb Williams? I think people forget we were bad enough to have the number 1 overall pick. We just traded it, and then it turned around. The pick that we traded became the number 1 overall pick the following year. So we were bad enough to get that, to have that happen. And so it's not as simple as, boom, you get the number 1 overall pick, and boom, you can turn it into a championship contender. Now, there are things that the Bears did not do over that time. Not firing Matt Eberflus sooner than they did to really have somebody that can really set the groundwork. A lot of people have said, basically last year was Caleb Williams' rookie year, even though, no, he went through an NFL season. He learned NFL concepts. He did all that type of stuff. But you waited a year, right? You wasted a year of having, by the end of that season, 3 different offensive coordinators for him by the end of that his rookie year. So it was turmoil. You did not address the offensive line as early as you wanted to get it done. Now, in year 2, we had a very solid offensive line, so it wasn't there. So it wasn't long that he was dealing with that, right? The weapons. You addressed the weapons. You drafted Rome Odunze in the same draft as Caleb Williams, so you started trying to address those weapons. We had Cole Kmet there that became trusted by Caleb Williams his rookie year, but you added tons of weapons in year 2. The Bears are progressing. We live in a world now where everybody, or not everybody, but so many people think it's as simple as you get talent, you add water, boom, you're a contender. It's not that. Now, it doesn't also mean that Ryan Poles hasn't missed certain opportunities. I do think, wait and see. I'm not saying for sure yet, but there is a chance that the Bears may regret not being a little bit more aggressive this offseason. There is a chance of that. Now, there's a chance that these draft picks that the Bears had, it ends up working out. The Bears, maybe have the internal development that they're hoping for from certain positions, and it ends up working out. That's there, right? And so at the end of the day, it's Rome wasn't built in a day. Super Bowl contenders aren't built just because you get the number 1 overall pick and they end up working out. It's not as simple as that. It takes longer. And even with that, we're still in Caleb Williams' rookie contract window. So I could see if we were in year 5 or we were in year 3 of it, and this team, especially the offensive side of the ball, is in a damn good position. Now, the defensive line that hasn't been addressed, those type of things, there are questions there that you cannot ignore at all either. But I think when it comes down to you just have to say this. Building a team takes time. And sometimes when you build quicker, it's not always as sustainable. The Bears are trying to get this done with having players on rookie scale deals, young players, a young foundation. That way you do keep the contracts down, and they want to get to a certain place before then you start going after the big splash moves and the big contracts. Is that going to work out? Still remains to be seen. But that is a path that we're going here, and it is a path that definitely still could work out for the Chicago Bears. We just got to get it done. And we got to see how this is going to progress over time to get to where we need to and where we want to be. And so, it is what it is. Like I've said many times before, national media is going to national media. And when it comes to the Bears, there's going to be more doubt about the Bears than there ever is faith in this team. And we've done that to ourselves quite a bit, right? So I can't blame anybody on that. The Bears have done that to themselves. Now it's about Ryan Poles, Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen, Kevin Warren, who's dealing more with the stadium stuff right now, but it's up to everybody to be all on the same page. And it seems like we had to get this organization together too. It's not like we drafted Caleb Williams into an organization that was all in the best place of where it should have been. It wasn't, right? George McCaskey had to realize that he needed to get the fuck out the way a little bit, right? So now that it seems like we do have alignment from the front office, the ownership to the front office to the coaching staff, and we're building that with the roster. Let's see if this Bears team can build that Super Bowl contender. But all right, let's move on. I talked about some position groups that got improved for the Chicago Bears. And like we like to do with everything, let's talk about the flip side of this. I want to talk about some Bears position groups that have massive holes to fill in 2026, and we're going to see how that goes. Number one, the left tackle position, right? Ozzie Trapillo's injury made that left tackle position a question mark after it felt like we finally found our left tackle of the future, right? So we brought back Braxton Jones. Jedrick Willis came in to compete for the job along with Theo Benedict, right? And these three guys are going to be battling for that starting job. But it's still a question. Jedrick Willis, we don't know if he can get back to what he looked like pre-injury, right? That's still something that he's trying to get back to. Braxton Jones, Braxton Jones is a walking question mark a lot. There are some things that Braxton Jones does really good. There's some things that he has some pretty big glaring holes at. And then Theo Benedict is a guy that has shown some flashes as well, but not necessarily always consistent. So when you have these three guys battling for the job, of course, you're hoping that somebody's going to improve or Jedrick Willis is going to get back to where he gets to. But this is still a big question mark that has a hole left to fill because of the injury to Ozzie Trapillo. And it's an important role. And it's it sucks that after we finally felt like we found our guy there at the left tackle that's going to be a long-term guy, we're probably going to miss him for the entirety of the season after that. And then there's going to be some questions on how much it's going to take him to get back up into gear and stuff like that. But I don't think he's going to miss the entirety of the 2026 season. I don't know if he's ever going to get back on the field during the game, but he is going to get back in the training room. He is going to get back on the field as far as practicing with this team, and that can help jumpstart to get him back out on the field in 2027. So we'll see what's going to happen there. But overall, the left tackle is a question mark. And then also the wide receiver for a much different reason. Now, I feel very confident in the Bears wide receiver room. And one of the players I feel confident about, and then we're going to talk about in the last segment on today's episode, but there's just no doubt about it that DJ Moore was a stabilizer on that offense. You could not call him for 3 quarters and then need him completely in the fourth quarter. He was going to show up, right? And so now with that being gone, it puts more pressure on second-year guy Luther Burden, on third-year guy Rome Odunze, on veteran Khalif Raymond, on Jahade Walker, who we're going to talk about, right? And so just that stabilizer and the fact that DJ Moore was always ready to call him. He never really got hurt. He didn't miss any games. We can't say that about Luther. We can't say that about Rome Odunze. So there's just a question mark there that they're going to have to figure out and fill, and that's just it. Listen, the position has tons of talent. The talent part isn't the question there. So I want to be clear that I'm separating. This isn't a question of talent. Left tackle, there's a little bit of question of health and talent. Wide receiver is not a question of talent. We got tons of talent. It's more a question of role and consistency. And you hear things like Ben Johnson say that buy stock in Luther Burden. Hopefully that means that consistency is going to be there. You need somebody who's going to be that consistent guy. And that's going to be something to watch over the first month or so of the season. How does this wide receiver room react without having the professionalism of DJ Moore? And then the last position group that I want to talk about that's is cornerback. And it's a mix of injury history. It's a mix of performance a little bit and having a young player. So Nashawn Wright is gone. He's gone. He's not here. Pro Bowler. He's gone. CJ Garner-Johnson somebody that played really good for the Chicago Bears. He's gone, right? And so you already are starting off this season with Kyler Gordon having a soft tissue injury. That's a concern. Jalen Johnson seems fully healed from his injury that he had last year. He was even in OTA, something that he really doesn't show up for after there was questions about it. But then after that, there's still performance questions. Tyreek Stevenson, what the hell have you gotten out of your head and waking the fuck up to who you need to be for this team if you want to be a starting corner in this league? Terrell Smith, you missed the entirety of last year. How are you coming back? Malik Muhammad, the rookie there that has tons of promise as a potential lockdown corner in this league, but that's the only new addition that we've really made to this team. So with that said, Tyreek Stevenson's starting job is in question. Kyler Gordon already has health concerns. Jalen Johnson is pretty consistent once he is on the court and on the field and healthy, so there's not a question there. But this cornerback core has tons of questions that they need to answer in 2026. And Kyler, after getting that extension, you got to show and prove. You played your least amount of games after you signed your big extension. And I know Bears fans are going to start questioning, hell, Darius already called in and asked if we could trade you for an edge, right? Like, and that's just what Darius does. He likes to just trade people that are talented or move people to positions. This is what Darius likes to do. So you're looking at those things for this team. So, we'll see. But I do think these three position groups have some of the biggest questions. Of course, we already know the defensive line is a huge question in of itself. But I think that those other ones, like it's clear the defensive line, like that would have been a layup. I didn't put that on here. So let's see what we can get out of those groups. Let me know your guys' confidence level in those groups, and how do you think they're going to deal with some of the adversity that came with them based off the offseason. Last time before we get out of here today, I want to talk about two players that I think could absolutely be gems on the Chicago Bears roster this season. And they're Jahadae Walker and DeMarco Jackson. Jahadae Walker is a player that didn't actually play a lot in the regular season. He didn't even have a lot of targets or receptions in the regular season. But he did make a huge play that people saw. He did take some serious snap during the final weeks of the seasons as well, right? 6 receptions for 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, right? And that's not much, but it was off 10 targets in just 3 games. So I think that what Jahadae Walker showed in regards to that, he only played 86 total snaps last season. This is a guy that's walking into a situation where he's competing for the wide receiver 3 role, and we'll see what he can do. With the Bears trading away DJ Moore, bringing in veteran Khalif Raymond, drafting rookie Xavier Thomas, it's now started a place and given an opportunity for somebody like Jahadae Walker to come in and earn a serious role. He showed flashes. The flashes that he showed last year are a lot to really tantalize you, right? And get you excited about what he could possibly be. But we're going to see what happens with that one. I'm not saying that for sure Jahadae Walker is going to lock down that wide receiver 3 position. I've said it before too. I think that the wide receiver 3 is going to come down to committee. I think it's going to come down to the matchup, the scheme, and the packages that we're trying to use. But Jahadae Walker has a huge opportunity to be a very consistent player for the Chicago Bears team. And he's a player that I do think, especially on a rookie scale deal, undrafted rookie, that if he ends up turning into something for the Chicago Bears, it does nothing but help the Chicago Bears maximize the Caleb Williams rookie contract window. So let me know in regards to that one. And then DeMarco Jackson. DeMarco Jackson, the player that when we had so many injuries in our linebacking crew between Noah Sewell, TJ Edwards, missing some times, you had DeMarco Jackson, who got signed off waivers in August. He spent the first 2 years of his career in New Orleans, and that's probably why he ended up coming here, because Dennis Allen is here. And, there weren't expectations for him. In Week 12 against the Steelers, that's where DeMarco Jackson really stepped up. He became the team's middle linebacker and defensive play caller because of TJ Edwards' leg injury. And then he shined. He had 15 total tackles against the Steelers. He played extremely well down the stretch of that season. 7 total tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception, 2 passes deflected against the Browns in Week 15. And he finished the regular season with 43 total tackles. And I think when you look at it, the Bears have already shown their faith in DeMarco Jackson. They signed him to a 2-year, $7.5 million extension after releasing Tremaine Edmonds. And it just shows that they believe that DeMarco Jackson has something. Now, it's not a huge contract. You also brought in Keyshawn Elliott in the draft, re-signed Jack Sanborn. But I do think the combination of what the Bears did in moving off of that, bringing in Devin Bush as well, that it shows that they want to see what DeMarco can bring this season. DeMarco has a chance to win the starting job as the off-ball linebacker, and play with Devin Bush and TJ Edwards out there. And with TJ Edwards also maybe injured at the start of the season, it could be some opportunity for him to really show and prove. So DeMarco Jackson is another guy that I think you can't count out having a breakout year this year. He's still young enough as well, has the upside. There's scheme familiarity under Dennis Allen there also, and we'll see what's going to happen there. Of course, we know that Dennis Allen gets creative with that third linebacker. It's not always an actual linebacker out there in that third linebacker spot, and we'll see what's going to happen in regards to that. But DeMarco Jackson has just as good of a opportunity as anybody else to make a name for himself on the Chicago Bears roster. Can he do it? We're going to see. I'm going to have some faith in him. I have some faith in him, and we'll see what he's going to end up doing. But that's going to do it for today's episode. Caleb Williams' MVP conversation is a fun one to have, and we'll see how it goes in it. The pressure is on Caleb one way or another to make a huge step this year. Can he do it? We'll see. Ben Johnson, there's pressure on him to build that offense, to get Caleb Williams where we need him to be as well, and there's pressure on the front office to build a roster that's good enough to compete, right, and truly compete. And that's why this conversation matters in regards to the Chicago Bears, because it's not just about whether Caleb Williams can be great or not. Caleb Williams could be great, and this Bears team could still suck because it takes more than just one player to truly make you great. The cornerback question, the offensive line questions, all of this. But I want to hear from you guys on this one. Do you think Caleb Williams can be an MVP candidate this season? Do you think the Bears did enough this offseason, or do you think they're wasting this rookie contract window by Caleb Williams? And which position group, other than the defensive line, worries you the most heading into this season? Drop your comments down below in the comment section. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode. You all guys can also follow us at Shy Bear Central on every social media platform. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. But that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.